What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of the things that you can do to be a rare wide receiver that stands out to a coach. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to get faster, you want to get stronger, you want to improve your explosiveness this offseason, check out that very first link in the description below for a 16-week wide receiver gym workout schedule. What you'll get access to is a 4-month day-to-day training schedule with the exact gym exercises wide receivers need to do specifically to improve their game. So check out that very first link below if you're interested. We give you all the sets, reps, examples of each exercise to work. So very first link below, fellas, let's get started. So to be a rare wide receiver, the first thing I want to discuss today is being comfortable at the top of the route. So many wide receivers do not have this, and we're going to be talking about why. So this wide receiver right here is Denzel Mims. He's going to be running this 10-yard out. Now, when he comes off the line of scrimmage, I'm going to play this full speed. The DB starts to shade to the outside. So he has to take the inside release and uses a throw-by move. This is something that coaches look for. How comfortable are you at the top of the break, maybe taking an inside release on an unconventional out route situation? So let's talk about why he does this, right? Because you have to know the reason why. Wide receivers who can do this at the top of the route, it showcases that they have a high football IQ. And a high football IQ makes up for something that a wide receiver might lack in speed, lack in size. You have to emphasize the details. So when he comes off the line pre-snap, he sees that the DB's outside shade. So when a DB's outside leverage, the only reason he's there, let's forget that it's one-on-ones for right now. He's outside shade. In a real game scenario, he's outside shade because he doesn't want to give up the outside. He's maybe expecting an outside route because of the wide receiver's alignment. And you see how he's lined up closer to the lineman. This is the top of the numbers. He's lined up further than the top of the numbers. So a smart DB would be thinking, okay, a wide receiver is probably not cutting his split down to run inside. But if he does, I have safety help to the inside in a real game scenario. So as a wide receiver, I need to be completely fine with that. So many guys struggle with this. They'll come off the ball, and when this DB's outside shade and they have an outside route, they try to force the outside release. But again, to be a rare wide receiver, you cannot do that. You have to take what the DB gives you. So anytime that he's lined up outside shade, okay, I don't care if it's an inside route or an outside route. I'm going to take the inside release. I need to take what he gives me. Because, fellas, if this guy didn't want to screw up timing with the quarterback, he'd be playing 3 yards off and just let you run off the ball. He is pressing to get hands and to screw up timing. So as a wide receiver, if I can keep timing and I can keep spacing on my routes, I should be in a position to win the route. So that's what we do. We attack his leverage. We threaten him to where he doesn't want me to go, and we take the inside release. So what? He's getting hands on me. I'm up into the route. That keeps timing with my quarterback, and I'm not forcing the release way outside, screwing up the spacing of the play. So this is where that comfortability factor comes in. You have to understand as a wide receiver that the top of the route, that's what gets you open. Not the release. The release can get you separation, but if you have a route that's 12 yards downfield, you don't think the DB is going to be able to recover. And if he recovers, you better know what to do at the top of the break to get separation. So when we take that inside release on an out route, obviously, and we're going to be talking about how to do this in a second, our main goal should be to restack. The next clip I'm going to show is the same wide receiver running a route similar to this, but him restacking. But if we can't restack, we need to have a plan. That's where being comfortable at the top of the route comes. That's what can make you stand out. That's what can make you a rare wide receiver. You need to be comfortable at the top of the break. So when he goes to the top of this break, rather than, trying to run around, because I've seen wide receivers do this. They'll take the inside release like how I say, but at the top of the break, they're not comfortable. They'll just keep running and try to round it out, but then this DB's on their hip and we got no separation. You either want to throw by in this case or stack over the top. So if we can't stack, we have to be ready to throw by. And that means I take my inside hand and I am swatting either on the back of the shoulder or the back of the hip of the DB. Those are the points of controls. That's what can get you the most separation, because now I could slip underneath, I got him off balance, and I could widen the distance. But because I didn't force my release, because I didn't get jammed up, the QB's on time, he can lead me because I gave him space to lead me. Let's be comfortable taking the unconventional releases and knowing how to get separation at the top of the route. Be comfortable at the top of the route and how you guys can get open. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Mims, taking what this DB gives and then throwing by to win on this break. So now, this next example here, we obviously have inside shade coverage, and he is going to be running a dig route. So this is what everybody's afraid of, and this is the one that really screws people up because it's an inside breaking route. And again, comfortability, with your breaks, comfortable at the top of the route. That is what rare wide receivers do. Not everybody can do this, fellas, but to be rare and to stand out, to catch the eye of maybe your high school coach, to earn a starting spot, to stand out to a college coach, you have to be comfortable. So let's watch what he does here. So he gives this move to the outside, but in this case, he's able to restack, and he's able to give a move and get some separation. So we have to be comfortable with either one, fellas. It's an inside route versus inside shade press. It's the exact same thing as the last example. We got to keep timing, and we got to keep spacing. Posts, digs, curls, these are the ones where guys love to force it, fellas, because they don't have the luxury of the sideline, right? So if I go here and let's say he forces an inside release and this DB gets hands, you got about 50 yards of space, so why not take the inside release? So what if we get rerouted? You're going to be running into other wide receivers. So if you're an outside wide receiver and you're running a dig, but let's say the slot wide receiver is also running a dig, and you get rerouted way inside and your dig is about a yard from the other guy, that's a problem because one defender can cover both routes and that play is dead. It is on me to keep spacing and to keep timing on the play. So he takes an outside release. Take what the DB gives you. He's inside shade for a reason. He does not want to give up the inside. So it's take what he gives me. So we take the outside release. In this case, he's able to actually restack. Okay, great. I give a move. I give him a little head fake outside, and I can win on this route. But fellas, it's about spacing, and it's about timing and being comfortable at the top of the route. Take what the DB gives you. You have to know his leverage. It's all about understanding leverage. Let's play this thing again full speed one more time. Great job by Mims being patient, bursting up outside, and then giving that move. Okay, so now, next thing I want to talk about here in terms of being a rare wide receiver is you have to react. So a lot of times, wide receivers, we talk a lot about plans, right? I talk a lot about, okay, when this DB comes out in this leverage, how should you run this route? What release should you choose? But what happens if he takes it away? Because sometimes, wide receivers will message us, leave comments, and they'll ask, well, coach, I tried to do this release and he just sat, or I tried to do this release and he just backed up. What should I do? You have to be able to react. And as a wide receiver, you're like a point guard in basketball. You kind of have an idea. You work on a lot of different moves. You work on different cuts, get to the lane, get to a pass, whatever. But if a defender takes it away, we have to react. So let's watch this full speed. So this is going to be a slant route. So he comes off the ball, does a little hesitation move. DB starts to back up and shade outside. So he just takes it and runs the slant. This is about as textbook as it can get. Because pre-snap, what we teach, DB's inside shade about 2 to 3 yards off. There's really like 3 kinds of options you could do right here. Some wide receivers will think, oh, I'm going to square him up and then give him a fake and go inside. Not necessarily what you want to do because pre-snap, I know he does that on this, but let me explain. Pre-snap, I'm not really thinking to do that because this DB's inside shade. He's inside shade. He's supposed to not give up the inside. But DBs can disguise coverage. They could disguise their leverage. They're very smart players, especially when you get to the next level. But pre-snap, I'm probably not thinking to do that. I'm probably thinking, okay, I could go with the diamond release where I take 3 steps to the outside, try to get him to flip, but that wouldn't work either because there's too big of a gap between us. So even if I got him to open up, I still have to run the slant, and he could easily recover and open up. So what you would want to do is you would want to close the distance with him and then work to the outside. Then do that diamond release. But if he's taking away the diamond release and there's really no point and he's just giving me the slant, I could just take it. That's what makes a rare wide receiver, the ability to react and have this game slow down. But how you can make the game slow down is by knowing what to do. You come up to the line, you've gone over these situations in your head a million times. Fellas, football is very situational. You hear Nick Saban talk about it a lot, situational football. What do I do in this situation? And you got to go over that constantly in your head so you can play fast. Because I give you 2 10-minute videos every single day. And it's a lot of information, but I do that because it has to be on repeat over and over and over again so you guys can play fast. The goal is to get you to do this stuff, but to do it quickly, obviously. So this wide receiver, he comes off. He attacks his leverage, but the DB starts to shade and start to inch back, giving him the inside release. Okay, fine, let's just take it. You know what I mean? We don't have to work to the outside if we don't need to. If he's giving me the free inside release and I could get him by a step, I'm open. I could win on that slant, and obviously QB puts this ball in a very good spot. So fellas, make sure that we react off the line. Even we have a premeditated plan, but if he takes it away, we're prepared to react. It's that twitch, it's that recovery that we have. Let's play it again, full speed. Great job attacking and taking what the DB gives, fellas. Great job at that wide receiver. Okay, so now, last but not least, I think to be a rare wide receiver, you kind of have to have a knowledge of making your routes look the same. So how can I make X route look like Y route? And it's not a complicated thing, fellas. I give you guys a lot of different moves, a lot of different releases, ways to run routes. But at the end of the day, you got to find 5 to 6 things that you like, and let's perfect those. You know what I mean? It's not about knowing 20 different things. Like, yeah, you want to know it, but it's about being able to perfect those 5 to 6 things and pairing them together. So what do I mean by that? So this wide receiver's got inside shade, off man coverage, right? We know he's inside shade because look at the hash marks. Wide receivers on the hash, DB's to the inside of the hash. QB's over here to the right side of the screen, left side of the wide receiver. He's running a post. So what he does here is he attacks the leverage of the DB, then he works to the outside shoulder and breaks on that post. So what does that look a lot like? It looks a lot like an out route, right? Because if you had inside shade coverage and you had to run a 10-yard out, what would you do? You'd stem to the inside and you'd try to attack his inside shoulder to get him to do what? Keep his leverage to the inside because that's his responsibility, right? His responsibility is to protect the inside. So you stem him inside, you attack him, he keeps his leverage, then bam, that creates a way bigger window to the outside for us to run. But if I have to run a post, you want to make it look the same. You want to keep this DB on his toes. You don't want to get him to anticipate what we're doing. You can't have 5 different ways to run 5 routes. They should all look fairly similar. So what does he do? He starts off the route by stemming inside. He stems inside, attacks leverage, and then he works to the outside shoulder, which is ultimately what we want to do. Because again, when he's inside shade and you have to run a post, if he were to just stem and this DB keeps his leverage and then he tries to just cut underneath, DB's all over it. So our goal would be to work to this outside shoulder. Now, not saying you couldn't just go right at the outside shoulder right away. That's totally fine too. I'm just saying there are times maybe where you want to get a little bit more creative. If you feel like you have a good handle on this, route, you could try to pair it. You could try to pair it with that out route. We attack his leverage first, and then we go to the outside shoulder. Now I get him to flip his hips because he's thinking out route. He's seen this out route before. Maybe he's seen a fade before, and I've done this, and that's what can get me separation, force him after speed turn, and I could win on that break. That's textbook right there from that wide receiver. So fellas, be a rare wide receiver to stand out. Let's make my routes look the same, but let's do it in an efficient way that doesn't waste time and doesn't waste energy. Let's watch this thing again full speed. Great job attacking. Great job breaking this thing off and winning on this route. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you'd like a full 4-month wide receiver gym workout schedule, everything wide receivers need to do in the gym for speed and explosion, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.